Hello, one and all. It is Ben and Sean from Pratfall, isn't it?
It is. That's you and that's me.
That's me and that's you. And hello, the people of the YouTube. Okay, so today we're doing the great Enshrouded tier list. I don't know what's great about it, but we're doing
exciting.
it. Okay, quick disclaimer before we get started. We actually recorded the bulk of this several weeks ago, before the new update was even announced. But stick around until the end for our thoughts on the new Melodies of the Maya blocks. Or don't, if you don't want to be spoiled. But either way, like and subscribe. Okay, enjoy the video. Bye. Okay, so, in descending order, we have the Game Changer, which is the tippity toppity top, the best of the blocks, the best one. Then we have Flame Approved, which is slightly slower. Slower?
Is it?
It's slightly slower than the Game Changer category, right? Which,
Yep.
well, don't tell the Flame, because the Flame will be mad if he's not at the top, but it's just below. It's not quite Game Changer, but it's... Okay, next up we have Solid as a block.
Aren't they all? Aren't all of these blocks solid as a block?
We'll get into that, sir.
Okay.
We'll certainly find out, but that's a sort of mid tier, you know. It's still good, but not quite as good. Then you have Block Standard, which
I like that.
you like that one, do you? I thought you'd like that one. Yeah. So it's you know it's not bad by any means, but it's nothing special. And then finally we've got Throw It in the Shroud, and if there's one thing you don't want to happen to you, it's being thrown in the shroud, isn't it, Sean?
Absolutely, yeah. You don't want to end up in there.
So, I mean, honestly, there's no bad blocks. I don't know if I'd feel harsh enough to throw any in the shroud, but we'll see.
Yeah, I suppose it's all comparative, isn't it? But they all have their uses for sure.
Oh, they do. Right. So, we're going alphabetically. This is how they're ordered on the Enshrouded wiki. So, first off, my friend, we have the blue luminescent block.
Oh.
And which is one of the most unique blocks in the game, so we're starting out pretty hot.
Yes, agreed.
I think this may be an unpopular opinion. I'm not a massive fan of it because it's very niche. You know, it's a cool looking block and it's quite unique, but very niche use cases. And I just haven't really found a purpose for. I know some people have used it for water.
Yes, I've seen a bit of that, like trying to imitate like waterfalls and stuff with it.
Yeah, which is a cool idea. I don't know, maybe I'm just not talented enough to make that work. But yeah, I mean, the fact that we have the terrain blocks for the luminescent stuff is cool as well. I know you've become relatively familiar with that.
Yes, both the block and the terrain block. I've used a fair bit in recent times.
So it's cool, but for me, I would probably go Solid as a block.
So I'm sort of biased with this because I obviously used it quite prominently in my Sorcerer's Tower build.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely don't think I'm not so attached to it that I'd want it going in Game Changer. My vote would be Flame Approved just because, like you were saying, there's no other block like it. There's obviously the white luminescent block and stuff like that, but as niche as it is, yeah, there's no other block that comes close to achieving what that block achieves. So I'd probably go Flame Approved, somewhere between Flame Approved and Solid as a block.
I will give you that. We'll put it in Flame Approved because I did really enjoy your Sorcerer's Tower, and as we mentioned, we have the blue terrain pieces to go with it, which I think we can get onto that in a bit, but it's kind of a shame that like we don't have that for like the warm white luminescent block or the green one.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. But yeah, we'll go probably like bottom of Flame Approved. We'll see how we go.
Yeah, I mean, things I suppose will rejig as we add more blocks to it.
Oh, we're gonna do a lot of the rejigging. It's inevitable. Okay, the bone block is next. I've used this quite extensively, and one of our more popular videos was entirely about the bone block. Well, obviously I mentioned like as a standalone block, it's kind of not great in my opinion. It's quite repetitive, but mixing it in with like the weathered stone and the dirty looking things, it's very effective, but you wouldn't make a whole build with it.
Yeah, it works best as an accent block, I suppose, doesn't it?
Yeah. What do you think?
Oh, I really do like it. Honestly, I don't know whether I've ever placed a bone block in
Really?
any of my builds. Yeah. In my solo world, I don't even think I've been an unlocked yet.
Oh man, it's like one of the first ones I got.
Yeah. But it is absolutely gorgeous. It's I sort of see it similarly to the blue luminescent block. There's just no other block that achieves the same thing as it.
Yep.
It obviously makes a really cool sound when you're walking on it as well, which I like that little detail. I would honestly put this personally in flame approved, but above blue luminescent block.
I agree with that. I was going to say the same.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about making a there we go, like a sort of crypt, like an underground crypt in our church that we made in Woodguard. And I'm sure we would, like, at some point we will do that, and I'm sure we will use the bone block. So
yeah,
we just haven't done a lot of those kind of things together. I love making like the spooky builds and stuff, but we'll get to it.
We will, yeah.
All right, the bronze block. So, as of recently, I've actually found a pretty good use for these, haven't I, my friend?
You have indeed. A very, very unique and interesting and fun use for them, yeah.
Yeah, it was, I don't know when this video will come out in relation to the one that we're referencing, but, you know, prior to that, it's one of those, you look at it and it's like, oh, yeah, it's quite cool looking, but, like, realistically, where would you ever apply it? But I found a pretty good application for it. So I kind of want to go flame approved again. But what are your thoughts?
I think we're gonna encounter this problem a lot. You know, I'm looking through all the blocks and I'm like, there are so many of these that are like really good but not quite top tier. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people have shied away from the metal blocks in general, thinking that they'd be quite hard to get to work in a build. I've used the copper blocks again in my Sorcerer's Tower build, so I do see the potential in the metal blocks. The sort of, even though it's a bronze block, the goldiness tint that it has to it, I think immediately shows its versatility in making builds look more sort of royal or regal or fancy, expensive and stuff like that.
It is very gold, isn't it? It's very gold.
It's much more gold than it is bronze.
Yeah.
Personally, I think the bronze block specifically would be very, very niche, more so than like the copper block. I would go solid as a block, but I'd be happy putting it in flame approved.
So I'm going to stick to my guns, and I'm going to go bottom of flame approved behind the blue luminescent, because think about a lot of the furniture you can craft in the game. There's a lot of like bronze trinkets and like furniture pieces that you can craft. So I think for that reason, like, it obviously, if you can find a way to use it in a build that has a load of these bronze items, like, it would complement them really well. I mean, you can say the same for the copper, to be fair. You have like copper bowls and like mugs and things like that. But it's not necessarily not necessarily the case for all of them, but for the bronze, I think there's a lot that can go with it. So I'm going to put it bottom of flame approved. Let's try and get something in there that's not in flame approved.
Yes.
Right, the castle wall stone block. So that is it's like the darkest of the stone. It's like a very dark grey.
Yeah. Do you know what? I don't think I've really touched this one.
Yeah. So my thing with this one is I've tried to use it a few times. When we started making our houses on our main world, I was going to use it as like a foundation piece, but it doesn't really mesh as well with the rest of the stone blocks as some of the others. Like, most of them are like a sort of mid-grey kind of colour, aren't they?
Yes.
But this one's a lot darker.
Yeah, I think it would work better as like if you were specifically building like a ruined build, like a broken down, dingy sort of thing. Whereas if you're trying to build something that's supposed to look like it's in use, I think it can look a bit out of place, like you're saying.
I've not really used it a lot. I don't know. If anyone has any ideas, by the way, or like examples of how they've used certain blocks, then by all means let us know. I'm toying with block standard.
I was about to say the exact same thing.
High in block standard, but I don't even want to put it mid tier because like I said, I've not really used it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Top of block standard. There we go. So next, quite a similar one. We have the city wall block. Now this one I know for a fact we have used quite a bit. Or I certainly have anyway.
Was that it's the main block in the Woodguard Church, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is, yeah.
So we have used it a fair bit. Yeah, I like this one definitely better than the castle wall block.
Me too. Which is weird because it's less unique than the castle wall, but it's a similar shade, like we said, to a lot of the others. So you can just like, like mix the textures together and have like a bit of variety without it looking out of place.
Yeah, they blend together with most of the other stone blocks a lot better. Yeah, I do like it. Again, it's somewhat boring, I think, but I'd be tempted to say I think that's solid as a block.
Me too.
Yeah, it's nothing special. I think that's pretty much right in the middle, average.
I agree with that. It's a good foundation piece. It's it's got solid use all over the place, but it's not crazy exciting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. The copper block. So it's going to be similar to the bronze. You've obviously used it quite a bit. What do you think?
I would honestly have it just above the bronze block.
That's where we're going to clash.
Yeah, I'm guessing you would have the bronze one just above the copper.
Yeah, just because I've used it, and you've obviously used the copper, but like like we said, we've got the copper furniture and the bronze furniture, but they're both very.
I think as long as they're next to each other, I think that's fine. I'm happy the copper being slightly behind because look, it's less flash. I think it's more interesting because of the greens in it. But it is certainly less aesthetic, and I guess that's what we're looking at, right? Which blocks are the most aesthetic?
No, not necessarily. I think we probably should have prefaced this at the start of the video. Aesthetic, yes, but obviously it's like how useful is it? How much can you use it like with the other blocks and stuff? We're not looking at it as just like a standalone block.
In that case, then I suppose I would agree that the bronze block is better because I think the copper would be really good for really specific things.
Do you know what, mate? I'm going to give you this actually because I have an idea for a build that I'm going to start working on soon, which does use the copper block.
Ooh, that's exciting.
And it has a lot of like jagged edges and stuff, doesn't it? And like pointy bits coming out of it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you that. I'm gonna put it ahead of the bronze.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's not my hill to die on. I'm okay with that. Okay, so now we've got the desert city wall, which I'm honestly not massively familiar with. I keep meaning to make some kind of like temple in the desert, or like a little sandstone castle or something like that. And obviously it would be very useful for that. The image of the block itself isn't really reminiscent of how it looks.
No, not at all. Yeah, it's actually quite misleading.
It looks a lot less refined, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But like, based on that, I'd say throw it in the shroud. But when you see the actual block, it is quite cool.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of reminds me of just a sandy desert version of the regular stone block, almost.
Yeah.
But for me, it's still pretty block standard. I certainly think there are more interesting desert blocks, or sandy blocks at least, of that sort of style than this one. I agree. So my vote would probably be block standard, yeah.
I'm going to put it ahead of the castle wall just because I think it has more application than that does.
Yes,
like you said, with all the other like desert and sandstone blocks, it'll go quite well with those generally, but it's just not particularly exciting.
Well, even with the like normal non-deserty stone blocks, I think it could pair really well with as well, sure. Just to make a slightly different hue. So yeah, I definitely think ahead of castle wall. Right,
this one is very interesting. This one is the desert temple block, and I don't know if you've seen much of this one.
Do you know what? I've got it in front of me now. I've never seen this before, and I absolutely love it.
You've never seen it?
Nope.
Oh my god. Like I said, I haven't made a build with it, but I have like experimented with it, and it looks so good.
It's like a stony, sandy version of palmwood. It's like the fancy equivalent of palmwood.
Kind of, yeah, or like the fancy stone even.
Yeah, it's like a mix between the two. Yeah,
Yeah, you've got
but
these
I
like
really like the look of it.
yeah, because again, if you just look at the block, you wouldn't know, but it has these like grey pillars when you kind of build the walls up.
Yeah.
And the floor is like a marbly sort of look to it.
Oh yeah, it's like a blue. Like
yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
And then obviously like the like browny yellow sort of trims around it. There's so much to this block. Like,
yeah, it's really intricate.
I love ones like this because you could make an entire build just using that, and it wouldn't look weird or boring
Or repetitive. Yeah.
So, mate,
I think we're in alignment here.
Really? So this is weird, right? Because neither of us have actually properly used it. I want to put it in Game Changer.
I would agree. 100%.
Yeah, maybe low. Like, we'll see what else makes it into there. But
yeah,
it's just, I know that once we do use it and make like a temple or something, it's going to be so good.
Well, now that I've seen it, making a build with that block is near the top of my priority list now.
Yeah.
I really want to give that a whirl. It does look really interesting.
Yeah. And again, there's a lot of things that would complement it too. But even if there weren't, it's just cool on its own.
Yeah, it is gorgeous.
Speaking of cool, ectoplasm.
Oh, do you know what? Yes, I think we're both a big fan of this one.
Oh, we are. So one of the newest blocks came with the hollow halls, of course. I guess it is relatively niche. It's definitely, obviously, we made a big church, and then I made a little church, and obviously we're going to use it in those.
Yeah.
It's more for like the spooky builds and stuff like that. So you wouldn't use it in like a regular like stone castle or a little like wooden cabin or something.
I think you could sparingly. Like, imagine if you used one singular block or two blocks, for example, to make like a little cubic lamp. Maybe not in a small wooden cabin, but like if you're making like a big sort of, not necessarily spooky, but a big like stone castle or house, and you wanted just a bit of variation in the lighting, I think you could definitely use it like that.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. Where would you put it top tier though? Where would you put it?
I think just because it is quite niche, I think flame approved again.
Yeah, I agree.
That'd be my suggestion. It's really unique, but like, yeah, you know, I can sit here trying to pick suggestions out my behind. It's like behind and beehive.
Lovely.
I can try and pick things out my behind of uses we could use for it. But regardless, it is definitely quite niche.
It is. I mean, we made some really cool shapes with it too, which is fun. I would be tempted to put it at the top of flame approved, or maybe just behind the bone block. What do you think?
And that makes sense with it being close to the luminescent, because I think they, you know, have similar uses, though each in their own sort of right.
Just because of how excited we were about it, and the fact that we have used it quite a lot, I think I'm going to put it at the top of flame approved.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah. Oh man, they're hitting us with some good blocks here. We've got the fancy stone now, Sean.
The fancy stone. That is a gorgeous block.
I bloody love this one. I think I love it more than the Desert Temple.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I sort of get that.
I've used it a lot, and it's kind of similar to the Desert Temple. As we mentioned, it has this like wood base to it, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
And I've used it so much, and it's so versatile too. I've got nothing else to say. I just love it. I love it.
Yeah, I can't fault it in the slightest. Like I think more so than most of the blocks, the fancy stone exemplifies how, and you know we say this a lot, but how revolutionary the building system is. How clever it is at working out where the trims need to be and creating the window sills and stuff like that. It's just a perfect example of how great the building system in the game is. So I'd put that in Game Changer, no doubt. Yeah,
I've got to bump it above Desert Temple.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Right, fired bricks block.
So again, this is one that I don't think I've made any of these blocks.
Which is weird, man. Like, same here, but it's weird because we have obviously the brick roof blocks, the tiles.
Yes, yeah.
And they're very similar, and they would, I imagine, go well together.
Yeah.
And yet, I've only used the roof blocks. I've not really used this one a lot. I don't know why.
When you think about the context of the game, with it being sort of like a medieval fantasy game, it looks very modern. And I think I would only use it for like a fantasy themed build, as like a chimney, I think. But like I say, I've not used it enough to sort of have a play around with it. My suggestion would be, I was going to say solid as a block, but I'm moving more towards block standard, you know?
I agree.
Yeah.
I
just can't see me using it that often.
I think I will end up using it. I don't know what for. Like you said, it doesn't really have that fantasy kind of vibe, does it? I'll put it in the top though, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, green luminescent block.
See, this is a weird one because I obviously love the blue luminescent block. The green one, I kind of don't.
We discovered something weird about it, didn't we? And I'm sure a lot of people already know this, but some might not. You have to like stack them in a certain order in order for them to like actually light up and have that glow.
They glow more the more of them are connected to each other, sort of thing.
Yeah, like if you have a few like random blocks placed around, they'll just have this like really dull green color. Which is a cool idea, but in application it just feels kind of annoying if you just want that glow.
Yeah, it's a bit lackluster, isn't it? When you like, in theory and in compared to in practice, they're two very different things. In theory, it's a really cool idea, similar to the ectoplasm block. You could add a spooky vibe, but the fact that you can't just place one and give a decent glow to an area, sort of takes away from it a little bit.
So, like, obviously, it came out with the ectoplasm, and I've tried meshing the two together, like making a big sort of stained glass window. And cutting a few blocks out of the ectoplasm and placing the green luminescent in just to like mix it up a little bit, and even that just doesn't really work. Like the colors don't really mesh that well. I'd feel harsh throwing it in the shroud.
That's my vote.
Is it really?
Yeah. If you could get a decent bit of light from even one block, I would give it block standard. But yeah, I don't think I'll ever use it.
Yeah. I don't think people will like us for this, but I have to agree.
Yep. Throw it in the shroud.
Oh no, the first I wasn't sure if we'd have any in the shroud by the end of the video.
Well, there you go.
Oh, there it is. Well, I'll tell you one that's not going in the shroud, my friend.
What's that?
The half timbered block.
Oh, what a beautifully medieval fantasy block that is.
It's classic. I feel like the consensus amongst the Enshrouded community is probably that this is the best block, or at least the most widely used.
The most versatile. Yeah. In a medieval context.
Very cool. Obviously has that like Victorian kind of look. Is it Victorian?
Like Tudor, isn't it?
Tudor is the one I'm thinking. I literally made a fucking Tudor house video and I forgot the word for it. So go watch the video if you've not seen it. Yeah, I can't really think of any other games like this that have that kind of Tudor style in any of their blocks. Even like Minecraft, I don't think really has anything like that.
No, you can sort of achieve a similar look manually by using wood logs and wooden planks, but it certainly doesn't have the authentic Tudor look that this block does.
It's obviously a game changer. But
yeah, agreed.
Where would you put it? Tippity top?
I wouldn't put it tippity top, just because as versatile as it is, I would call it standard. I'm not saying we should put it in block standard, but I would call it a pretty standard block. Because it's so widely used. It's definitely a game changer and is definitely one of the best blocks in the game, but I don't think it deserves to be at the top of game changer. I think there are a lot more interesting blocks than it.
Yeah, I think it at this point has been somewhat overused because it's obviously one you can get quite early on.
Yeah.
But I think I'll put it ahead of Desert Temple.
Yeah, I think it has more use and yeah, is more widely used.
You see it a lot more often, and yeah, it will be utilized in a lot more like medieval fantasy kind of builds, but it's not as good as Fancy Stone. The highly polished stone block. So you were asking me, I think yesterday, which block it is that has like the tile pattern on the floor.
Yes, the white and grey. Yeah,
that is this one.
Yes.
So it's like a white stone, or like the lightest color stone that we have. Sort of like the opposite of the castle wall.
Yeah.
But it has a lot of these cool trims that we talked about, and it has that tile. Like if you wanted to make a kitchen or something, I think that's what you would like referring to.
Yes, I think it would work really, really nicely. It's either like a bath, like a rich person's bathroom, or a kitchen.
Yeah, for sure.
I do like the floor. The walls are really pretty and unique. Again, I think they'd be too light to be used commonly. I think you'd have to choose carefully where you wanted to use them. They'd be good for like ruins, like Greek style ruins or something like that, I think.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Cool. Yeah,
that is a cool idea.
I'd probably throw it in flame approved, but somewhat high up.
Okay.
In fact, you know what? Looking at the other things we've got in flame approved, I don't think it would necessarily need to be high up, because a lot of these are better, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Gee, I was tempted to put it at the top.
Really? Okay.
Just because that everything we have in there right now are very niche.
That's a good point.
It's these cool, like, gimmicky blocks, aren't they? But this, I think, I don't know. I'm putting it there.
I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. The hollow halls block.
Yes.
I know you've had a bit of fun with this, or was it the red marble that you've used?
I used both of these. Yeah.
So, like, weird thing about them is, I'd say if we didn't have both, if we only had like one of these, like, regardless of which one it was, I'd put it quite low, because I'd be like, yeah, it's really cool, but what would you use with it? Unless the entire build was made up of the hollow halls block, it'd get a bit repetitive, and there's nothing that you could really use, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But the fact that we have two, I'd probably say solid as a block.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, I think they are really, really unique. And when used effectively, they're gorgeous, and there's no other blocks like them. But how many uses could you have for them?
Yeah.
Even pairing them both together, which creates a really unique look. Yeah, I think slap bang in the middle is where they need to be, because they are fantastic. They're definitely not boring by any stretch, but other than very specific vibes, you're just probably not going to use them that often.
I don't think I'd put this in the same tier as the bronze and copper. I think I'd go a bit lower.
Yeah, the bronze and the copper have a really unique look to them, whereas I think, I mean, I'm trying really hard to think of anywhere that I'd use them. You could use them as like metal grated floors, or something, I suppose. But beyond that,
well, you could, but we have the metal block too. So I think I don't think we need both.
Yeah, they are. They are very, very similar. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like we did with the hollow halls here, we put them in the same place because they're quite similar. Yeah. And I don't really use either. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go to the bottom.
No, I think that's definitely the right decision.
It feels weird having those in there and those down here, but yeah, we're being a lot more harsh than I thought we would.
You've got to be, man. We've got to spread them out good and proper.
Oh, we do. Bloody hell. Okay. Right, limestone is next. It's alright.
It kind of bores me.
It kind of bores me too, mate. You know what? It kind of bores me too.
You might disagree with me here, but I'm not sure. I would throw this in the shroud.
Oh my god, that's harsh.
I would throw it in the shroud. Yeah, when we've got all the sand blocks and we've got all the like stone blocks, this is a weird in between where you can achieve the same thing but better with an alternative block.
But imagine using it as like pathways and stuff in amongst these sandstone buildings.
Yeah,
it's not as intricate or interesting looking, so it's not going to distract you from the buildings. It's just a way to kind of flesh out. If you made like a little town or something using all the sandstone. But I agree, it's not exciting. I wouldn't throw it in the shroud though.
I'd put it at the bottom of block standard.
Yeah, we'll do that. Mate, do you like how much it blows my mind every time you want to throw something in the shroud? I'm like, what?
I'm a harsh man.
You are a harsh man, yeah. I don't know. I thought Game Changer and Flame Approved would be like stocked full right now.
Yeah.
But it's pretty even.
Yeah, surprisingly so.
Yeah. Right, mycelium. The overgrown mycelium block. It's nasty. It's dirty. It's not good to look at.
But sometimes that's exactly what you need. I really like this. I've not used it, but I really like the look of it.
Yeah, so I obviously used it in my first major build above the elixir well.
Yeah, and you used it to great effect as well.
Yeah, it sort of, it's dingy. It goes well with like your bone blocks and your like the well blocks, I guess.
Yeah.
It definitely has a place. I'm not gonna put it higher than like solid as a block, but it's more versatile, weirdly, than most of the things in like block standard. You know.
Yeah, and I think it's a perfect block for Enshrouded as a game. I think.
Exactly. Yeah, it fits the vibe big time.
I'd honestly put it in solid as a block, but above the hollow halls ones. You know.
Would you?
Yeah, either just above them or just below them. Because again, like, yeah, it just suits the game so well. And I know a lot of people don't necessarily want to build dingy, broken down builds. The whole point of the game is you're rebuilding the world and stuff. But yeah, it's just very unique and screams Enshrouded.
Just to be weird, let's put it between them.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I like that.
That makes sense. Hopefully people watch the whole video for context and don't just skip to the end to see where we placed everything.
And
like,
just
why have you got my ceiling between the hollow halls? Oh, here we go. It's time for the palm wood.
Oh. Need we even discuss it, Benjamin?
We don't need to discuss what tier it goes in. At
the tippity top. Oh.
I think it's my favorite block in the game, mate, right now.
I think so as well. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Man.
It's just there's no block that's as beautiful as it. And again, like you can use it in basically any build you want to.
And you can use it for the entire build if you want to, and it doesn't look boring or like it needs a little extra something. It's just so good. But like also you can use like, sorry, I keep cutting you off, bro.
That's okay.
I'm just passionate about the palm wood block. You understand? You can mix like the refined wood in with it, and it works perfectly well. Even like the rough wood, a bit of that with it as well. It's just it's
just fits in everywhere, doesn't it?
Oh,
stop
God.
Stroking it. You don't have to listen.
All right. Oh, I should have saved that till last. Everything else is just going to feel like a disappointment now. We got refined sandstone.
Refined sandstone. No. Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it.
I mean, it
looks like sandstone that's been like vomited all over.
God.
I don't like. It's got like little poo stains on it.
Little poo stains.
It's got a little poo stain. No, mate, I'm throwing that in the shroud.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm not even hesitating. That's gone.
He's coming out hard.
Yeah, I really don't like that one. That might be my least favorite block.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh, again, it's all relative, isn't it? In any other game, you'd be like, yeah, it's a cool block. But when you're comparing it to the masterpiece that is the palmwood block, like you can't follow that realistically.
Yeah.
I think I would have gone block standard, but I honestly don't care enough to like fight in its corner.
Yeah.
Above or below? Oh, you said it's your least favorite, right?
Yeah. I want that right at the bottom. Disgusting.
He's incredibly passionate about his dislike for the. I don't remember what it's called. Remove it from the game, yeah. Oh yeah, it is the one with the poo stains on it.
Yeah, I told you, man. It's got poo stains all over it.
I was thinking of I'm in agreement there, mate.
If you're making a poo dungeon.
A poo dungeon.
Yeah. Don't knock my creative mind.
Right. Oh, we'll look forward to Sean's poo dungeon.
Yeah.
Right. Let's pick it up a bit. We've got refined stone.
Refined stone.
Oh, it's good.
Stone. It is lovely, isn't it?
It is. It is.
I think you've used that somewhat in your house in Woodguard, haven't you?
Yeah, I think I may have done. Yeah.
Pillars. Yeah.
And I used it in the build that I also used the bronze blocks in.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. It's very nice, and it's again the shade of it, which to me is quite important. It's the same shade as like the regular stone and the rough stone,
Yeah.
So you can just use any kind of combination of those and make some really cool looking, like intricate builds.
Yeah, I think the pillars as well. Like if you just build pillars with it, I think it's the perfect block for making stone pillars. The trim at the top with the little circles on the inside is gorgeous.
Bottom of Game Changer.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. Yeah, I agree.
Not quite as interesting as the others, but it's very good. It's very good.
Yeah, it's good trim block, I think.
Okay, refined wood. I mean, it's a goodie.
It's definitely a goodie. Yeah. There's definitely nothing wrong with it.
I would call this block old reliable.
Yes, yeah. Perfect for your wooden floors and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I really don't like about it though is like the sticky outy bits on the edges.
Yeah, I know.
Like when it's refined, you're expecting something really clean and contained. And it can be a little bit messy. Sometimes you want that.
It's definitely flame approved in my opinion.
Yeah, but I think lower end.
Do you?
Yeah, I'd say above the copper and bronze.
I'd say above luminescent.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, no, I'd probably agree with you.
Because again, if we're talking about like how often we use stuff.
Yeah, utility.
Yeah. Let's go. All right, what's this dirty bastard? Regular sandstone.
Regular sandstone.
So I think that's the one that I thought you were referring to. It's all right, isn't it? It's not bad.
There's nothing hugely special about it, but it's I would with it being regular sandstone, it's like your bog standard sandstone block. You go to if you're building something in a desert. I'd go block standard.
I'd go block standard too. What else do we have? Like fired bricks, like castle wall, the metal ones.
I'd put it behind the metal ones. I think I'm more likely to use the iron and the metal blocks than I am this. But again, like I've never delved into building anything in the desert yet, so that could be the reason why I'm shying away from it a little bit.
But that's it. When you think about the map in Enshrouded, like the Kindle Wastes and the Nomad Highlands take up like what? Probably half the map in its current state.
Big chunk of the map, yeah.
So it makes sense. I'm sure most people by now have built some kind of sand desert structure thing, and they've probably used a lot of this. And I imagine we will end up doing the same.
Yeah.
I'm putting it above the metal ones, man. I gotta do it.
That's fair enough. I'll let you off on that one.
Yeah.
I can understand where you're coming from.
So much in the low tiers. What's going on?
Yeah, I think it's because there are some blocks that are just so vastly above the rest that even other blocks that are still quite cool, just by comparison, end up, being relatively lackluster.
Yeah, it's all relative to the game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like we're not saying any of these blocks are bad because none of them are bad. Like they're all cool in their own way. Within the confines of Enshrouded, not all blocks are created equal, Sean.
Exactly. Yes.
That's it.
It's just a way of the world.
This is the refined stone blocks, less refined little brother, the regular stone block.
Yes.
He's good. He's a good one.
It's a standard, pretty solid block. There's nothing that jumps out. There's nothing hugely fancy about it. I would consider this sort of similar to the refined wood. It's like old reliable for a lot of your stone needs.
Yeah.
I'd be tempted by somewhere in solid as a block.
Would you? I'd say either top of solid as a block or bottom of flame approved, just because I use it a lot.
Yeah, I think bottom of flame approved probably makes more sense.
Yeah, let's do that.
Because it's gorgeous. Nothing jumps out at you to make you go, oh.
Yeah, but think like if we didn't have it, we'd want something like it. Right, rough flintstone. I actually really like this block.
Do you?
Yeah, so obviously it's one of the first ones that you get in the game. But like, if you just look at it, it's so intricate and there's so many like little different colours in it. Like oranges and greens, and it's just, I really like it. I think it's really underrated.
Yeah, it has that medieval feel to it, doesn't it? Like a poor peasant's house.
Yeah,
built of it and stuff. Like it's been made out of just stones stacked on top of each other, which is really, really unique.
I don't think you'll agree. I want it flame approved.
Do you know what? I wouldn't have agreed, but looking at it, yeah, it achieves something that no other block does. And I think blocks like that definitely deserve a higher a higher placement.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, you get it so early, and you see it and you're like, oh yeah, that's quite cool. But then you quickly start unlocking like your regular stone and like refined wood, and then you just kind of stop using it. But
yeah, it gets left by the wayside a little bit.
yeah, it's very cool though. Rough sandstone block.
Do you know what? This feels almost like a progression of the rough flintstone.
Yeah, it's basically a reskin, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got the same sort of shapes.
In fact, you could say that about the one that follows it too. I'd say block standard.
I'd say block standard as well. Pretty low on block standard.
Pretty low, just above limestone.
Yeah.
Rough stone. So like, well, these two here, rough stone and rough wood. First two blocks you get in the game, right?
Yeah.
I remember the first time we actually started building in the game. Obviously, all we had was the rough stone and wood.
Mm-hmm.
And like we literally just made like a cube, like a small cube room.
Yeah.
And we're just admiring it, like, look at how good it looks.
Yeah.
Obviously with the voxel system, and we're looking at the ceiling and like these little like stone supports that are coming down, like, fuck, it's so good.
That was one of like the most amazing feelings I've ever had in gaming, was seeing this system at work for the first time.
Man. It brought me so much joy seeing how much joy it brought you.
Yeah.
And that was when I realized, like, we're gonna have fun with this game.
Yeah.
So I mean, that is the only reason why I'm not gonna throw them in the shroud.
Yeah, because that, you know, as soon as you've unlocked a load more blocks, you know, you're not going to use these two that often unless you're looking for a very specific kind of look. Despite them being quite basic, I'm tempted to put them in solid as a block, just
Really?
because I know they're quite boring, but they're like, I can't even justify why I want them in solid as a block. But
It's
I do.
just like the game's been out a few months and they feel somewhat nostalgic.
Yeah, I think that's it. You know, I think that's it. I think because I've got this memory attached to them of us sitting there on that cliffside building our first base. But maybe it's unfair to judge them based on nostalgia. So
No,
maybe they
that man. It's our tier list. It's our tier list. Right? If people want to come at us in the comments, come at us. Like, we're putting them game change. No, we're putting them solid as a block.
Yeah, I reckon bottom of solid as a block is
Stone or wood first?
I like the stone. I use the stone more. The wood I don't use that much, so I'd put the wood lower. Yeah.
Yeah. Realistically, I probably would put the wood in a lower tier, but they need to be together, don't they? Okay. I know this is one of your personal favorites, the roughly cut stone.
There is no block that I have used more than this, and it's not even close.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah. This is my. What did you say was your go-to standard stone block earlier?
Is
it the regular stone?
I'd say it does depend on what kind of build you're doing, but
yeah,
I'd say more than any other it'd be regular stone.
Yeah, so that roughly cut is my version of that. I do really like it. I think it's really versatile. I think it's the most standard, nice looking stone block. I don't like the floor that much. I think by comparison, it feels a bit jagged. Not jagged as such, but sort of a bit rough and a bit relatively ugly compared to the way the walls look. But I don't think it deserves more than solid as a block. Yeah.
It does go really well with the weathered stone, doesn't it?
Yeah, those two as a pairing. Because again, I think roughly cut can be used both for builds that you want to be quite clean and can also be used for more broken down things depending on how you use them. So I think there's a lot of versatility in that.
Yeah, that's a good point. We've got flintstone in flame approved though. That feels weird to put it below.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
I think we put it up just ahead of the regular stone. Yeah, because I have used it a lot as well.
Yeah.
I think that's good. Shroud wood.
Shroud wood. Now, I do like shroud wood. I have a similar issue to it about it as I do the refined wood in terms of the sticky outy bits. It's less severe, I think. Again, screams Enshrouded. This dark, dingy, horrible cabin wood. You know.
I don't think I've actually used it since my Elixir Well build.
Yeah.
I think I used it a bit in my Tudor house, which sounds weird, but it did go really well with the half timbered. So it is quite like, obviously you hear shroud wood, you expect it to look like the dirty mycelium kind of stuff, right? but
Yeah.
it is quite refined. It's just like a dark grey wood, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a dark and paler version of the refined wood, isn't it?
Yeah. I think I'd put it in solid.
Yeah, no, I think I'd agree with you on that.
Let's put it with the mycelium.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just above, because it's got probably a bit more versatility than that. Tarred wood, kind of similar deal to the,
Do you know
the shroud
what?
wood.
Looking at it now, I've always written off tarred wood, but seeing it, I think it works better for what the shroud wood is trying to do than the shroud wood does.
Really?
It's like this log cabin, dark, dingy,
Yeah.
made out of logs. I really like it looking at it now.
It is good. It is good. I've used it a bit, but not enough to have any kind of attachment to it. Okay, we'll go solid as a block.
I think it needs to be just above the default wood.
Okay, yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, because it just has a unique look to it, I think.
Warm white luminescent block. I don't really care for it. I want to.
I don't think I'd use it for anything.
Because it gives the impression that it's just to have like an ambient, almost invisible light to like light up an area. You know, like the ectoplasm and like the hollow holes, like candles and stuff, give like a green glow around the build. I was hoping you could kind of almost hide it amongst the walls and just have this like white glow in the room without needing a bunch of like candles and stuff. But it doesn't really work that way.
Yeah, it is hella bright. Yeah.
And you need it like in the walls for the light to actually come in. It just looks quite unnatural to me.
Yeah, I'd honestly throw this in the shroud.
Yeah.
I just don't think I'd use it. I really don't think I'd use it.
I'll put it at the top just because I'm sure other people have found like a good use for it.
Yeah.
And again, if you have, let us know in the comments. Maybe we just overlook a bunch of stuff and that's fine.
Oh, we definitely do.
We definitely do, yeah. Okay, last two. We've got the weathered stone block.
The sort of accents of the bones and stuff on the windowsills, I think, is really unique and interesting.
So think about that. It's really cool. It's a cool visual, but some of the time you don't want that.
Yeah.
I know you encountered that issue a while ago. Like you really wanted the look of the weathered stone, but you weren't making like a crypt or anything. You didn't want a bunch of like bone piles around it.
Yeah, I think the block itself is really unique, but yeah, if you like the look of the block itself, but you don't want the bones, it can be quite frustrating.
But it's a good looking block, and obviously goes really well with the bone blocks, really well with the roughly cut stone.
Yeah.
So I'd say probably like bottom of flame approved.
Yeah, do you know what? Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, we have the well block.
A beautiful block.
It is fantastic. It's one of my favorites.
Incredibly unique.
I remember when I first encountered it, I didn't unlock the block, but it was when I did my Elixir well build. I climbed up there, and there's a bunch of the well blocks there, and I just started digging into it, and just seeing like all the little shapes that it started to form, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So when I finally unlocked it, I used it quite extensively. It's just really good. It's really good looking.
It's incredibly unique, and I think the little detail, and I don't know whether this is intentional on the devs or whether it's just a byproduct of the way they coded the sort of soundscapes to work in the game, but the fact that when you get near it, you have this dark music start to play.
Yeah.
I think that's a really fun thing.
Yeah.
I think we're probably in agreement on this one.
Go on.
Game changer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to say between Half Timber and Desert City Wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm right with you on that one, boy.
There we go.
Boom.
All right. Well, we actually have 3 new blocks now from the Melodies of the Maya update.
What a treat.
I personally thought we'd get a few more, You know, one thing, just quickly before we get into ranking these ones. I think in one of our episodes we talked about what was the block where you find the new NPC, the Bard, and they had all the sort of yellowy green kind of moss vegetation on them. I know we commented about them, and I'm pretty sure none of these are that.
No, I don't think they are. Let me just have a proper look. I mean, the VUCA temple block is pretty similar, but it definitely isn't the same block. The block we're talking about was almost like a blend of the VUCA temple block, and I would say almost like the Hollow Halls block.
Oh, really? Yeah, okay. I was going to say a bit of the desert temple as well.
Yeah.
That yellowish kind of colour to it.
Yeah, but who knows? Maybe that'll come later. It's a bit confusing as to why they'd implement it in the game and not just give it us.
It's an interesting decision, especially because I think it's the first thing you really encounter when you're looking for the bard in that big section.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. You know what? If that was on the list, it'd probably be rated pretty highly, but it's not. So it is what it is. Right. First of all, we've got the VUCA temple block. Now this one, for some reason in the game, has the same image as where is it? The city wall block. So I've not messed up here. It's not.
Well, there was a lot of talking about placeholders in general with the bard location instead of ancient vault bard. So I think maybe you and I have discussed this. I think they, to a certain extent, have rushed certain things just to get them out. But honestly, little details like that, they'll iron out in the next sub update.
So you mentioned it's kind of similar to the one that you first come across at the bard location. It's very green. It's very mossy. It's very natural looking. What are your initial thoughts? I don't think we've actually built with any of these yet, but we've acquired them and we've seen them, so I feel like we can rank them fairly.
Yes, I also noticed that they implemented one of the blocks, which I'll get into properly when we move on to it, in an existing location in the map, which is quite close to my main base in my solo world. So I've seen one of the blocks quite in depth in the way that the devs have implemented it. Okay. But the VUCA temple block, my instinct is I don't know. The more I look at it, the more I like it. My initial instinct was solid as a block, because I like it. It's obviously not hugely, we've talked about how much utility there is in blocks. I think it would be perfect for temple-esque builds, but because of its somewhat nicheness, but I do like it.
So what I would say as well, if it was just a standalone block, I would maybe rate it quite low, but given the fact that we now have all these terrain blocks too, like we can build our own trees and we have the not the moss, the foliage, I'd be tempted to go slightly higher than I usually would.
Yes, you've convinced me there. I think flame approved.
I can't put it above either of those because I know we've used, all of these, to be honest, we've used quite a bit.
So it has to be at the bottom.
I would say the bottom of flame approved, and honestly,
I think that's...
as a brand new block, that's not a bad place to be in, my friend.
Yeah, and I certainly, looking at all the other blocks in flame approved, I do still think maybe my mind will change with, once I've used the VUCA temple block a bit, but all of the blocks above it, I think, should be above it.
Okay, the brick timbered block. Now, obviously...
Ben, I really like this one.
Do you?
Yeah.
I wonder why, Sean.
It's just cool, man. Yeah.
Wow, I think you like it a lot more than I do,
So this is the block that I've seen utilized in an existing part of the sort of base map. It's in Fort Kelvin, which is the location you find the block in, I believe. That's the one block that you find.
Oh, with the sewers.
Yes, that's right. If you look in Fort Kelvin, there are lots of buildings that are made of this brick timbered block. So they've changed Fort Kelvin, some of the buildings, to accommodate the new block. And seeing it utilized in actual buildings, I really, really like it. I don't like it as much as I like the half timbered block, but I do think it will be... I think people will use it for really interesting things. It has like a factory feel to me, which I know isn't hugely medieval fantasy, but imagine like a huge warehouse where the carpenters work in. I see so much potential for various different things in this block. Perhaps we're going to get a refined brick block, Ben, in a future update.
I don't want refined brick, man, if I'm being honest with you. I want bricks, just bricks, literally just that, but just a brick.
based on how they tend to name blocks and stuff, I think it would be the refined brick.
Yeah, like
Know what I
rough and refined, regular. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Give me a regular one, which is literally that, but just brick. And then, no, mate, because then the refined one would have little poo stains on it.
Oh, I don't want, mate. If there's one thing, Keen, listen. If there's one thing I don't want on my blocks, maybe a couple, but we've got a couple, and that's fine. Maybe a couple. Stop. Stop putting poo stains on my blocks, okay? I don't want the poo stains anymore.
I thought you meant maybe a couple on each block.
On every single block, just a couple of poo stains.
Just a little Easter egg on every block.
Oh, God.
Like that. All right, where's he going? We've talked about him for long enough.
So I think my mind will end up changing to Game Changer, potentially, once I've used this block more. But for now, because I haven't utilized it myself and I don't know what I can do with it yet, I'd be happy with just above the Vukar Temple block.
I'd go solid, mate.
Really? Oh, no.
I just...
Oh, do you know what, mate? Looking at... I mean, we've got the Hollow Halls blocks in solid as a block.
We do.
So, yeah, I don't think it beats those.
But then, I mean, it sounds like you like it more than the Vukar Temple, though.
Yeah. Oh, this is tough.
Definitely, I imagine they'll be more widely used than the Hollow Halls.
Yeah.
But there's something about the color combinations that they just don't do it for me. I do, like you say, I do think they'll be very popular because of how popular the Half Timber is. I think that's potentially why they've added it. Because it's a very similar concept. And people love using that, like we discussed earlier, the medieval kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
I wish the beams were a bit darker, so there'd be more of a contrast with the colours.
Yeah, and to match the half timbered a bit more if you did want to combine the two.
Yeah, but...
and I'll leave that decision up to you.
Oh,
so.
do you know what, mate? Because I'm a nice guy, and I know how much you like it, I know how excited you are to use it. I'm going to pop it in flame. I'm going to put it above the Vukar stone.
Oh, thank you, Ben.
Because I know you're excited. And look, man, I trust your judgment. You've seen them in action more than I have, so I'm trusting you with it.
Just give me a few weeks, Ben. I'm gonna make a build video that's gonna blow your mind.
Well, I'm not editing that out, so it's out there now, Sean. You've got to do it.
I'll be on it, my friend. I'll be right on it, like some sort of thing that's on something else.
Okay, we've saved. I would say the worst for last.
Hard disagree.
Really?
I think this outdoes the Vukar Temple block.
No. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow. So they're all going to be like next to each other. That feels weird.
But they are all flame approved, which is good. Well, in my eyes, at least.
The block that this reminds me of the most is the rough wood, which is the first block that you acquire in the game. I think that's why it kind of puts me off. I get it, and it's more variation, and it's cool, and we have all the natural elements and the terrain stuff that we can add to it. I might get some hate in the comments, Sean. I'm not a huge fan. Can you sell me on it?
Okay, so I'll do my best to explain to you why I like it. So there's a few different things. It's got a bamboo feel, which I think is good. With the recent update, there's the whole big treehouse vibe, and I don't think you could make a treehouse without implementing this block somehow. I understand your comparison to the default wood. I think this does what the default wood wanted to do better, but I do think they're very distinct. It has like a very put together, not tribal, primitive vibe to it, I think. I think the floor is fantastic. The floor I really, really like. I think I get the weirdness with the walls. I think the walls are a bit niche. But I certainly think the floor you could do some really nice things with. I think it almost looks like a carpet. Yeah,
to be honest, I wasn't thinking much about tree houses, and I mean the update was all about tree houses, wasn't it? So I should be.
It was.
Yeah. Actually, thinking about it now, I think I'd put it higher than the brick timbered, which kind of messes up our whole list. You think higher than Vukar Temple?
No, looking at the whole list, I don't think higher than Vukar Temple. looking at the entire list, I think mid solid as a block is where it should sit.
Why do we have 2 in between the 2 hollow holes?
I think we discussed this when we recorded the last part. We were like, "Oh, this doesn't make a load of sense," but
I don't like it, mate. I'm moving the red marble up.
Do you know what, mate? I'm completely down for that.
Yeah, it is.
That
nice.
makes so much more sense.
Yeah. I'm gonna plonk it underneath the hollow holes. How do you feel about that?
I am happy with that. Absolutely, yeah. I think that's perfect.
Fantastic. There we go. The 3 melodies of the Maya blocks. Okay, we did it. We got through it.
Yep, that's our tier list.
And
okay, let's have a quick scan through it and see what we think.
So a lot more, as I mentioned, there's a lot more in the Shroud and block standard than I expected.
Yeah.
I thought the list would heavily be like the top 3 tiers, and like a couple in block standard, and the Shroud would be like empty. But again, it's all relative to the game itself. We don't think any of them are bad. I'm sure like people have found ways to use every single block on the list effectively. It's just, let us know if you disagree with our opinions. We're just having a little bit of fun. Try not to get too angry about it. It doesn't matter. It's just a tier list.
Yeah, it's just a bit of fun. It is purely our opinion, And to be fair, as we discovered as we've gone through a lot of these blocks, a lot of them I think it's sort of put into perspective how little of the building system in terms of utilizing all the blocks you and I have experienced, despite how much we've cracked on with it.
Yeah.
But no, I think this is as fair and as balanced as we could have got it, really.
So yeah, biggest takeaways from the tier list, our top 6 blocks in ascending order: Refined Stone, Desert Temple, I think it's Desert Temple, yeah, Desert Temple, Well Block, Half Timber, Fancy Stone, and tippity top Palm Wood. I love palm wood, Sean.
I love palm wood too.
We just love palm wood.
If you guys love palm wood as well, give us a like. Go on, do it.